What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of an Italian Mafia Saga, Book 1 of this three-part Mafia Saga you'll never find anywhere else on the planet. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all the subscribers. Thank you for all the views. Thank you for the patience. Thank you for the fans. People are out there listening. And I know there are people out there that know somebody, knows somebody, knows somebody. So it's only going to be a matter of time before we all retire off of this one, because you'll never find another Mafia Saga like this as long as the Earth is remaining. I thank Mario Puzo for being my inspiration in prison. I thank, for all the time and the studying and the cramming and the notes and everything that I put into this is because God gave you all an imagination just like He gave me one. Use it wisely. Do something good with it. I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy Gus, my boy Joe Kelly. If you haven't heard about Joe Kelly, that's my partner. He does battlefield boxing and MMA on YouTube. Look him up, subscribe to his channel, see what he's about. I know what he's about, but I want you to see what he's about so I can tell you I told you so. But he's good. He's my homeboy, and I love him. My boy Curtis, what's up with you, dog? One of the most positive people in my life. To everybody at Harry's, I love y'all. Let's do this. Solnsevskaya Bratva is a real criminal organization recognized as the biggest and most powerful crime syndicate of the Russian mafia. Tuesday, July 11th, 2023. Heather was driving home from yoga class in Henderson. It was about 8 p.m. She just got off the phone with her husband that she was about 15 minutes out. Then, out of the blue, a black SUV lights her up. "Oh, come on," Heather said, pulling her Ferrari over. Two men exited the SUV as the red and blue lights flashed on the side of the dark and lonely I-515. Traffic was as usual at 8 o'clock at night. Heather watched the two men split up, one coming up on her left and on the passenger side. She has a Smith & Wesson Model 686 357 Magnum right under her seat for her own protection. There was a knock on the window. Heather looked at the brown-eyed face that looked through the driver's side window. Nothing but death could be seen in those eyes. "Miss Lovato?" the man asked, then flashed a police shield. "Lower the window." "Why? Who the fuck are you?" Heather yelled, then took off. The SUV sped up on the Ferrari, but the red and blue lights were out. They were not cops. Heather put the Ferrari in fourth and slammed the pedal to the floor, her engine purring like a velociraptor as she cleared 100 miles an hour on I-515 going south. The SUV kept up with her. What did they have under the hood? The passenger side window lowered, and out came a black handgun. Then a loud bang. Heather's left tire was out. She forced the Ferrari to the side of the road as the SUV sped up and slammed on brakes. Both men got out as Heather tried to get out of the car, but one of them shoved her back into the driver's seat. The man grabbed her wrists and forced her to lay back across the center console as she screamed in fear for her life, pinning her hands to the passenger seat with his right hand and holding a Taurus 605 B2 357 Magnum revolver to her head with the left. Heather's back was in excruciating pain, being held down on the center console with a gun to her head. She screamed and fought as she tried to kick this guy off her. Richard Galucco wanted to get a message to Donovan. Tell your fucking husband that he's got two choices. Galuko began and looked at Heather's breasts pressing through that turquoise blue yoga top. Better yet, get out of the car. Richard Galuko pulled Heather out of the car, shoved her up against her Ferrari, and Melvin Cole cuffed her hands behind her back. What the fuck are you doing to me? Heather screamed in tears. Both men hurried her to the left rear door, then shoved her inside as she screamed and fought to keep from getting in the back of that SUV. She was forced onto her stomach. Richard Galuko climbed in behind her and the door was closed. No! Heather yelled and screamed over and over as this guy tore her yoga pants from the back. Somebody help me. Richard Galuko fought with Donovan's wife as he tried to rape her. She screamed as loud as she could in tears as she resisted. Then Galuko back-fisted Heather twice in the left eye, stunning her. She saw stars and black dots. Then she heard a belt unbuckle, a zipper go down. Heather snapped out of it and fought with all her strength, laying on her stomach underneath the weight of this night prowler's body as her torn black yoga pants were jerked down. She screamed and resisted and fought, pulling and trying to prevent what she knew was about to happen. Heather screamed and cried as the man forced his way deep inside her. She clenched her fists and screamed long and loud as this man violated her, penetrating her, and tore into her in the name of revenge. Richard Galuko clenched his teeth and exhaled, filling Heather with his release as she continued to scream from being raped. Tell your fucking husband that Giovanni wants his money or Lovato's ass, Richard Galuko said, then cuffed Heather. She hurried out the back seat in tears, pulling her torn pants back up as she ran in fear back to her car. The SUV sped off and the tail lights faded out of sight. She had no idea who they were. They knew who she was, and one of them had just raped her. Monday, July 17th, 2023. 1 week later. It's been 1 week. Heather didn't want to get a rape test kit taken because she didn't want to get the police involved. Guess it was something about not talking, but getting your own justice. Donovan promised her that he would. Donovan was relaxed on his bed, in his boxers. The master bedroom was dimly lit with scented candles, and Heather was so in the mood that she covered the bed with pink and red rose petals and told her husband to lay back and enjoy. The clock on the nightstand read 10:47 p.m. What was Heather doing? Donovan hit the freshly rolled cigar of Godfather OG as he waited. Then the bedroom door opened. In came his wife in a pair of 5-inch, plain black, thigh-high, stiletto heel boots. Wet black leather crotchless panties with a long furry cat tail on the back. A wet black leather micro bikini top. A lace eye mask and a lifelike cat-eared hat. Heather turned towards the bed and ran her hands slowly up her body, slowly over her breasts, then slowly down her hips. I love a big, strong man who's not afraid to show it with someone half his size, Heather said in her sexy Michelle Pfeiffer voice, doing her Catwoman impression. Heather's eyes were on Donovan's the moment she seductively walked across the room, keeping her eyes on him through the reflection in their bedroom mirror. Donovan locked on the flick of Heather's tongue against her bottom lip as she grabbed a candle, then came slowly in his direction. "What's on your mind, dollface?" Donovan asked, then hit the blunt again. Wouldn't you like to know?" Heather replied in her perfect Michelle Pfeiffer Catwoman voice that Donovan absolutely loved. He watched his wife stop at the foot of their bed, holding the small jar with the burning candle inside. He loved what she has on. "I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I feel so much yummier," Heather said, continuing her Michelle Pfeiffer impression, touching herself seductively, then looked at her husband with devilish eyes. "As I was saying, I'm a woman and can't be taken for granted. Life's a bitch. Now so am I. Heather unzipped her boots, took them off, then seductively crawled up on the bed and crawled toward her husband. Donovan was aroused and ready as his wife made her way over his hips, never once breaking eye contact. Heather took the cigar from her husband, put it in the ashtray, and put the candle down, then revealed a long satin ribbon of red with gold threadings in the design. You make it so easy, don't you? Heather said in her Catwoman voice as she began to tie his wrists to the bars of the headboard. Always waiting for some Batman to save you. Heather forcefully pulled the ribbon tight as she looked at Donovan's face. I am Catwoman, Heather whispered, purring in her husband's face. Hear me roar. There was a knock on the door of the Lovato's condo, interrupting what was about to get really, really freaky. Oh, come on, Heather said, agitated by the unexpected visitor. Let's go see who it is, Catwoman, Donovan said with a smile, then she untied him. Heather fired up a blunt of Godfather OG, then went to the door in her black bikini. The door lock unlatched. The boss of the Gambino crime family, Del Toro Amicio, and his underboss, Jimmy Vendelarino, stood there, watching the door open, and a woman came into view. A blonde in a black leather micro bikini and a pair of low-rise stretch mini denim booty shorts with a nice .42 carat diamond navel piercing, smoking a blunt of marijuana, stood in the doorway. Can I help you two men? Heather asked, suspicious and with attitude. I'm looking for Donovan Lovato, one of the men asked. Who are you, attorneys? The two men snickered at the question but were reluctant to answer. My name's Del Toro Amicio, and this is my personal assistant, Jimmy Vendelarino. This is Donovan Lovato. Donovan approached and met eyes with both men, both of which he had never seen before. Looks like his old man, Vendelarino said in Italian, and Donovan came outside his door. We're not here to start any shit, Lovato. I just thought maybe we could work together to get what we both want. You want those two murder for hires that just raped your wife? Let's talk, Amicio said with a cold grin. Donovan and Heather had no idea who these two older gentlemen with New York accents are, but they're probably Mafia affiliated. The two men were not here to kill them. Come on in, Donovan said, then led the men inside his home. The men were not here to see where Lovato's son lives or how he lives. Every man makes his own way. The three men waited for Donovan to get dressed. Then the three men took a walk out onto the balcony to talk, alone. You know who I am. And you've invited us in without once having asked my name, Del Toro interrupted, then approached the huge teenager. You've got to be wiser, Lovato. Now, my reasons for visiting you is because I need you to do a job for me. Don't waste your brain power sizing me up to Denise or your former employee, Matteo Corbenzo. For one, I never worked for Matteo. I don't work for anyone, Donovan interrupted. Kid, when the profit's right, you will work. Enjoying your dad's money, I see. Be careful, though. Your dad refrained to pay Marcosi Giovanni $275,000, Amicio said. It was a fun night, but I told Antonio not to take the Yankees, at least not that game. Donovan, your dad, Bricks, was a diehard New York Yankees fan, and he was a big guy like you too, Del Toro said, looking at the kid's height. You've got your dad by about 9 or 10 inches, but you look just like him. Both men rested against the rails of the balcony and looked over at the Vegas Strip, alive with light and life. My name's Del Toro Amicio, and I'm the boss of the Gambino family. Denise branched off after the death of Castellano back in '85. I knew your dad as well, son, and I can't imagine having parents for only 6 years. Hell, I had my old man for 27 till I did a 12-year stint up in Sing Sing, but we never bonded like the way your dad used to talk about you. Donovan listened as this New York Mafia boss told him about his dad. Things about his life no one could have known. Fishing trips when he was 5. Family campouts at Yellowstone when he was 5. The nights at the house when Antonio would teach little Donovan how to throw a punch. The Christmases and Thanksgivings. The gatherings at the Lovato estate. This man took Donovan back. Way back. And so I says to Antonio that night, I respect you because you're a damn good dad, Bricks. Del Toro said, then pulled a manila folder from inside his black trench coat. What's that? Donovan asked, following the man over to the outside table. It's you, Del Toro said, opening the folder for Donovan to see. It's not you, but it will be, and your name will be Vincent. Donofrio? Donovan asked. I watched Law and Order Criminal Intent as well, but no. Vincent Martellino. Vincent Martellino was a black market hustler from Yugoslavia, and he met a government informant that he didn't know was a government informant at the time by the name of Ronaldo Carmici. Ronaldo Carmici was trying to expose the very thing that Martellino was trying to profit from. The man over the entire operation is Rico Maldonado. Del Toro handed Lovato the folder so he could follow along as he spoke. Maldondo's a weapons smuggler for a Pakistani black market weapons dealer named Abdul Rasham. Rico owns a nice gentleman's lounge out in Los Angeles on South Robertson Boulevard called Seductively Sinful Gentleman's Lounge. What I want's a woman who works there. Arishta Raskolova, the daughter of Russian mafia boss Mikhail Raskolova, and they are part of Solonsevskaya Bratva, a deadly criminal organization which is noted and confessed to be the biggest and most powerful crime syndicate of the Russian mafia. There's a photo of her there. Arishka is a wanted fugitive in Russia since she escaped from a prison in Mordovia called IK-14. It's a horrible prison. She was doing life for 12 murders that she was responsible for committing. The other photos there are her crew: Karina Marchikova, Xander Khrushchev, Alexander Chekov, and Nicholas Mikhailovic. They'll kill anyone at Arishta's command. Listen to me carefully. These people are going to ask you how you met Ronaldo Carmici. You met him at the 2019 Zurich Wealth Conference back on Tuesday, November 19th. Rico was doing the seminar. If you forget those details, then you are dead. Tell him Ronaldo Carmici was exposed as a Yugoslavian government informant and killed in the same Russian prison that Vincent Martellino did his 3 years in. Black Dolphin Prison. The reason you are contacting him is because you are still interested in his business proposition, and you came to LA for that reason. I'm going to give you a gym bag with $2.5 million in cash in it. That's for a buy-in on the hustle. There's a forged ticket stub to go with the real TWIC card, passport, and the Yugoslavian driver's license that you'll need to prove you just got off a plane from England to Los Angeles. Now don't worry about Arishta. She only knows as much as Rico does. The only one who knows about Vincent and Ronaldo's history is Rico. Arishta works strictly for her father. Should you actually get the chance to meet Arishta, which is highly unlikely seeing she's there to guard and kill on command, Vincent will be no different to her than a cab driver in Manhattan she's never met. All I have to do is get in good with this Rico guy and bring you this girl? Donovan asked, holding up the photo of Arishta. No. You're going to meet a man by the name of Donald Shields. He's a retired CIA operative and an informant of mine. Rico has a file on Donald Shields. If Rico or Abdul sees Donald Shields before you recover that file and give it to him, they'll kill him. The 3 FBI agents that are working this investigation are Daryl Talley, Marco Weiss, and Alan Tervino. In short, I don't give a fuck what you do to any of them. Just bring me the girl, and you can take this. Del Toro said, then handed Donovan a small plastic C4 explosive and a fob-sized detonator. The fuck is this for? Donovan asked, knowing what it is. That's for the two men that hurt your wife, former Las Vegas Metro police officers Richard Galucco and Melvin Cole. They were the first to arrive at the accident when I was 6, Donovan interrupted. The FBI requested the two cops to leave the scene and to keep their investigation under wraps. You'll find them both at the Hustlers Club Billiards on Crenshaw Boulevard. Go there and get rid of them or do whatever the fuck you want to them, Del Toro said. And that's all? Donovan asked. When do I need to go to L.A.? Tomorrow. Good luck. One more thing. The file said this guy, Martellino's dead. What happened? Donovan asked, confused. He is dead. Someone killed him in a casino in Hong Kong 2 months after he was released. Don't let Rico find out. If he looks Vincent Martellino up, you're dead. But he's alive because he's in every computer system on the planet with everyone else, and he's got your face. Don't do anything stupid and ruin that ID. Donovan re-entered his home as the men headed to the front door and left. Heather was fully nude and headed into the jacuzzi. Donovan set the folder down and followed. Tuesday, July 8th, 2023. The Ferrari F8 Tributo sped west on the 4-hour trip to LA, taking the US 95 North ramp to I-15 North. He is going to do this job for Gambino family boss Del Toro Amicio. The unexpected visit from the New York mafioso who told Donovan things about his dad that they had done together when he was a kid. It was more than a surprise to him. The clock on the dash read 9:42 a.m. as Donovan merged onto US 101 North. The LA traffic was as usual as Donovan drove down Los Angeles Street trying to find the spot where these two murder for hires would be. It was almost 10 a.m. when the Ferrari pulled up outside the Majid Abu Bakr as Sadiq Mosque next door to the old Gray Hustlers Club billiard hall. Donovan got out and looked around as he made his way to the front door. It was locked, but there was music that could be heard inside. There were lights on, and then he saw movement. Standing outside a closed pool hall with a bomb in a small bag and a detonator in your pocket isn't a very smart thing to do, especially when you're here to kill them. He crept around to a service door that was open and unguarded, all the way around the back. Donovan looked around and crept inside the door to the business, the fire exit, fire extinguishers, the restrooms. Ride Like the Wind by Christopher Cross had just faded out, and a song Donovan loves was just coming on. He smiled as if another spirit took over him as the guitar plucking seemed to just empower him. Wanted, Dead or Alive by Bon Jovi began as Donovan crept down the hall into a main pool room with about 20 tables in rows. The bar and the other pool hall accessories decorated the large room. The story of my life, Donovan chuckled as the song made him feel good. 4 men came out from a hallway as Lovato stood there, watching these 4 guys come out with a large wooden crate, and they all were carrying it. What was inside? Not that Donovan cared. Too late. Bigger problems. Who the fuck are you? One of the men said, coming from behind the counter about 30 feet away, followed by the other 3. The man drew a gun and began firing at the intruder. Son of a bitch, another one said. How the fuck did Lovato find us? Wanted, Dead or Alive was still blaring through the jukebox as the gunfight escalated. Donovan pulled both chrome Berettas and fired 4 shots, hitting the first guy 4 times in the chest, then threw the bomb in the air and turned and shot at another guy. 3 rounds from a 12-gauge shotgun hit the table Donovan was crouched behind. He leaned out from the side, firing both Berettas side by side, and hit the guy with the shotgun 2 times in the face and 4 times in the chest. The bomb seemed to move in slow motion in the air above the tables. Bullets were ricocheting and splintering wood as Donovan crouched down and headed to the back hallway. You're dead, Lovato, Richard Galucco called out, then fired back after him. The bomb was starting to come down. Donovan grabbed the fob detonator and ran toward the back door. He turned around and pushed the button as he exited. The building exploded, and the roof and the brick structure blew into bits as fire rose and glass blew out from the front entrance. The mosque next door to the pool hall was blown half apart and on fire. Donovan really blew up those buildings and murdered those two feds that raped those two cops that raped his wife. Fire and thick black smoke billowed from the rubble into the air as traffic began to stop. Donovan ran back to his car and got in as crowds began to gather out in front of the scene. The Ferrari sped off at the sound of sirens broke through the sound of the flames. He had to get out of the area because all those bystanders saw the black Ferrari speed away. Donovan couldn't believe that he was really just in a gunfight that resulted in him committing an act of terrorism by a plastic C4 explosive. The pool hall was gone, and those two men that attacked his wife are dead. You could see and hear all those LAPD cruisers that sped past Lovato as he continued looking for a place called Seductively Sinful Gentleman's Lounge. Donovan was suddenly hungry and decided to get some breakfast from a Taco Bell. He paid for and ate 6 breakfast burritos, 3 soft-shelled tacos with a nice cold sweet iced tea. Now, to find this club. Donovan found the 2-floor adult nightclub, but the property was empty out front. He drove around the empty lot and 5 vehicles were parked in the rear lot, but that was it. Donovan wasn't going to go snooping. He parked his Ferrari underneath the large beige stone canopy, turned the engine off, and lit a blunt. A nice lime green Lamborghini Huracan pulled into the lot, and Donovan watched it drive past his car, slowing down as it went by, then sped off around to the rear parking lot with 5 other vehicles. Through the seriously smogged up windshield, Donovan could see a woman walking up to his car with a pink gym bag. He took another good hit, then fanned away all the weed smoke as he held it in. The woman knocked on his window. Donovan looked around for a way to get rid of the smoke, but he turned the car off. He continued to hold the smoke in as he frantically put the blunt out in the ashtray. The woman knocked again, and Donovan couldn't hold his breath anymore. The woman backed up as she heard coughing. Then the driver's side door opened, and all the weed smoke billowed out as the driver went to his knees on the pavement, coughing hard and loud. This woman was inwardly amused over someone in a nice black Ferrari, busted getting high in front of her place of employment. Donovan staggered to his feet, coughing hard from that good weed. He gained his composure and approached this woman that looked exactly like Sports Illustrated swimsuit model Kristen Harper. Hair, body, face, and all. That was Donovan's first thought. Point of No Return by Expose was blaring so loud through Donovan's system, pulsing his speakers and sounding good that he couldn't hear this woman when she was laughing at him. He put up a finger, then lowered the volume. Nice wheels, Donovan said in a thick... Nice wheels, the woman said in a thick Russian accent. Can I help you? Donovan looked at this perfectly peach-tanned Kristen Harper with a perfect French braid, a Russian accent, deep honey brown eyes and hints of glitter around her eyes, perfect lips with glitter lip gloss, dressed like she just came from a yoga class. She had on some neon lime green Fabletics pants with her phone slid in the pocket. Donovan was stunned during the breath he spent checking her out. The sexy white gold navel jewelry with a pink heart-shaped diamond in it. The nice, modest, but very revealing lime green low V-neck bra top. A slim and toned waist with nice beach baby abs. Perfectly round 38Cs and gorgeous cleavage. He wasn't sure, but this had to be Arista Raskalova. He was willing to bet on it. Thanks. And maybe, Donovan said and left the door cracked. I'm Vincent Martellino, and I'm here to see Rico Maldonado. Is he expecting you, Mr. Martellino? The woman asked, shaking hands with the visitor. I highly doubt it. But Donovan leaned in closer and pointed to his car. I've got $2 million in cash in that bag right there that he might be interested in. The woman looked at the visitor, a really young-looking, hot, muscular, bald guy getting out of a freshly showroom-waxed Ferrari F8 Tributo, removing his shades. The tight black T-shirt with the muscular arms protruding from it. There were four nice and thick white gold Figaro chains around his neck. The longest one had a large, iced-out white gold crucifix charm on it. His left arm had a hard, tribal tattoo sleeve leading to a nice white gold iced-out Rolex. There were 3 large white gold and diamond rings on the last 3 fingers. The bald head and the perfectly edged and trimmed goatee, the triangular tuft under his bottom lip, smoky gray eyes, enormous traps, the nicely fit black jeans and the clean white work boots, and the shiny white gold tin-top diamond-studded grill with 2 fangs in his mouth. The jewelry was sparkling. This guy looks like a rap star, some high-roller security guard from Beverly Hills. He could be security for some rapper. She was confused, but the money made her suspicious. Come inside, the woman said. Donovan grabbed the bag, left one gun behind, then locked his car. This was an enormous adult club, 12 platforms with poles, 7 bars, lounge areas with tables, and whatever else is here that Donovan couldn't see. One thing he did see was this woman's sculpted, round ass in those yoga pants as he followed her all the way to the door. Her legs were toned, shredded, shaped, and muscular. She's definitely a pole dancer. Would you like a drink, Mr. Martellino? The woman asked, going behind the bar. Dr. Pepper with half ice, please, Donovan replied. This was a big place. How many girls work here any given night? Donovan asked, looking back to the bar. 370 every night, the woman said, handing him the drink. So how'd you meet Rico? Donovan chugged 3/4 of the glass, then exhaled. Through a man by the name of Ronaldo Carmichi. Donovan replied, and the woman looked at him suspiciously. What did you say? I said I met Rico through a man named Ronaldo Carmichi. Donovan watched the woman give him a look of, who the fuck do you really work for? As she grabbed her gym bag and headed up a flight of stairs. Wait here, she called out, going up the stairs. 4 minutes later, the woman came back down and called him to go upstairs. This woman led Vincent Martellino up the stairs and down a main hall to the last room on the left. She went in. Then Donovan went in and was smacked across the back of the head with the butt of a gun hard enough to knock him to the ground, stunned. Donovan could feel 2 people picking his stunned form up off the carpet. They were speaking in Russian. Then someone jerked his chin up and he opened his eyes to find an Italian man standing in front of him, holding Donovan's chin between his fingers. 2 large men had him restrained from behind. You've got exactly 5 seconds to tell me how you've met me, or the agency you work for is never going to see you again. Man, I told that broad downstairs that I met you, Rico Maldonado, through a man named Ronaldo Carnici. In 2019, Donovan replied, acting defensively. In 2019, you held the Zurich Wealth Conference back on Tuesday, November 19th. Both Ronaldo and I met you there. The reason I'm here is because I'm still interested in your business proposition, Donovan interrupted, struggling with the men holding him. Rico got up and pulled a nice chrome Smith & Wesson 22 caliber snub-nose 6-shot revolver from his desk drawer, spun the barrel, closed the chamber, and pulled the hammer back. Let me give you a little bit history lesson, Mr. Martellino, if that's who you really are, Rico said, putting the pistol to Donovan's head. 3 years ago, Ronaldo Carmichi, Rico began. Ronaldo Carmichi was exposed as a Yugoslavian government informant and killed in prison. He was trying to expose the very thing that I was trying to profit from, and the reason I know that's because we were at Black Dolphin prison together, and I saw the motherfucker shanked in the neck by 5 Yugoslavian gang members during my 3-year stint. I got out 5 months ago, but I've got a gym bag with 2.5 million in cash in it. That's for a buy-in on whatever your hustle is. There's a ticket stub to prove I just got off a direct flight from England to Los Angeles. Rico snickered and removed the gun from Donovan's head, then nodded for the bouncers to let him go. Arista, search him thoroughly, Rico said in an angered, raised tone. Arista looked Donovan right in the eyes with the most beautiful yet most evil look in her eyes that he'd ever seen. She approached him with the slow, naturally sexy stride that meant business. Then she carefully lifted his sparkling white gold chains, looking at the diamonds and the large white gold crucifix. All of it was real. Donovan watched Arista roughly lift his shirt and his black tank top to reveal the handle of a large chrome knife. All 5 men watched Arista slowly pull the Gil Hibbins Highlander bowie knife from its case. Then she looked Vincent Martellino in the face as she pressed the sharp point slowly straight against his abs, teasing him to see his reaction. Arista softly snickered and licked her bottom lip as Martellino clenched his teeth from the pain of the point. A small drop of blood trickled down Donovan's abs. Arista watched the drop of blood trail down and stain the hem of his boxers, then looked at his mouth, then in his eyes, as his reaction turned her on. He can take pain. I said search him, not toy with him, Rico shouted in anger, and Arista put the knife on the desk. Arista reached around and removed a nice solid chrome 9mm Beretta and handed it to Sully. She searched his pockets, taking his wallet and a passport, $27,000 in cash, a nice bag of purple buds, and his phone. He's clean, Arista said, then opened the bag and smelled the marijuana. Are we finished? Donovan asked, playing the role. I believe you. I remember that Tuesday there were exactly 6,441 attendants at my conference. And even though you survived a prison term you never should have gotten on account of a lousy Yugoslavian government employee, you're going to work for me, Rico said, then picked up the passport and fished out Donovan's driver's license. Vincent Martellino, age 27. Donovan stood to his feet as those words echoed in his mind again and again. He met eyes again with the Russian woman, then turned to find one Russian bouncer, one black bouncer, and a Samoan bouncer. Those 3 men there are Sully Mortensen, Tumba Palama, and Dexter Jackson, my personal security guards. And this woman to your left is my personal assistant, Arista Raskalova. Donovan knew this Russian goddess was the one, but she doesn't look like an escaped serial murderer or the daughter of a Russian mafia boss. So what's the job? Donovan asked. Tisk, tisk, not so fast, Rico said, then went to a large photo of a Sumatran tiger, slowly swung it open to reveal a large high-tech security safe in the wall. Rico pushed the key code in and opened the safe, then removed the file. Donovan watched as Rico opened the file, handed him 4 photos, then put the file back. Who are they? Donovan asked as Rico closed the picture. The first one. The man with the glasses on is a man by the name of Donald Shields. He's retired CIA. He's onto this black market operation, Rico explained. Just kill him, Donovan said. We would if we could find him, Rico said, then paced away. The other 3 photos are FBI agents Daryl Talley, Marco Weiss, and Al Intervino. Now, the reason we can't let the FBI ruin this is because her father's in control. Donovan looked at the photos of Rico. Who's her father? Some tycoon? Donovan asked and snickered. Hardly. Orishta's father is one of the most powerful men in Moscow, Mikhail Raskolov, the boss of the Russian Mafia, and he's making millions through a Pakistani black market weapons dealer named Abdul Rasham. Mikhail will be here in 1 week to meet with Rasham. The FBI is going to be looking to nab all of us and shut down Raskolov's operation from right here. If they get Rasham, that's going to hurt the Middle East, Rico explained. It would be like capturing bin Laden all over again. That's how important this guy is to the feds. So, what exactly would I be doing? Donovan asked, concerning his job. You'll be Arishta's personal security, her personal bodyguard. You will be at her side 24 hours a day. Am I clear? Donovan stood up, then calmly accepted his gun from Arishta. Crystal clear, Donovan said, tucking his gun away. Arishta works here at the club. Be with her here tonight by 9 p.m. I have a personal car parked out back that you will drive, Rico added. So what am I supposed to do while I'm busy babysitting? Donovan asked, snickering. Arishta went straight-faced with offense. Rico laughed. You'll do what Arishta tells you to do. Someone like you does prison time in a Yugoslavian labor prison and comes right back 3 years later to jump into the black market pool head first without looking to see if there's water to break your falls. Got some solid cement nuts, kid. Arishta, he's yours. See you both later at the club, Rico said, then turned to go back to his desk. What kind of wheels are you putting me in? Donovan asked. FBI Special Agent Marco Weiss was in his unmarked Dodge SUV across Robertson, 30 yards away, parked behind a blue Honda Civic, out of sight of anyone at the seductively sinful gentleman's lounge. Then his investigation just hit a brick wall. Escaped Russian prison fugitive / Russian mafia murderer Arishta Raskolova came out the club entrance with a large, muscular, bald guy in a tight black shirt, at least 6'4", maybe 242 pounds, 4 white gold chains and a crucifix charm around his neck, the left arm sleeved with a tribal tat and a shiny Rolex watch. Who the fuck is this guy? Agent Weiss said to himself as he watched the two suspects through the binoculars. Gotta be your security. Big guy like you? Damn, more shit to deal with. Special Agent Weiss grabbed his radio from his shoulder and made the call. Special Agent Weiss to Special Agent Tally, over. Tally, go ahead. What's up, Weiss? What you got? A new player in the game. Arishta just exited Rigo's club with some big bald guy. Maybe some security Maldonado assigned to her because he knows we're on to his operation, Weiss said. Damn, that means we can't move till we ID this guy and find out who he works for. Who is this guy? Tally said. I don't know, but he wasn't here 12 hours ago. Plenty of time for Mikhail to fly in some top security for his daughter. Let's run it. They want to run this, we gonna run it with them. Stay on those two and let me know if anything happens. Don't lose them, Agent Tally said. 10-4. They're both getting into a 2023 Rolls-Royce Phantom Series right now, Weiss replied. Follow him. If our new guy's driving and he's taking Raskolova home, keep me informed. Over and out. 10-4. Special Agent Marco Weiss waited for the double R to pull out into traffic. Then he backed out and sped out, finally being able to catch a spot through traffic to be 2 cars behind the Royce, headed towards Arishta's $9.5 million home in Palo Verde Estates, purchased by her father, Mikhail Raskolova. The drive through Los Angeles was quite nice, seeing Donovan had never actually been able to take it all in from this kind of view. What was the view? Number 1, chauffeuring a woman around who smells good after her yoga class and she's the daughter of a Russian mafia boss. Number 2, her father is dealing and banking millions in black market weapons through a Pakistani hustler. Number 3. And Donovan is her security. Last month, 17-year-old Donovan took his math final exam and got a B while he burned the potatoes in home ec. Here he is today driving this fine-ass Russian girl around L.A. in a sleek, wet, gray 2023 Rolls-Royce Phantom Series 2. How the fuck does it happen? Donovan moved the rear view and got a perfect shot of Arishta's breasts before he met her eyes, then returned his focus to the road. This is really happening? This is the job I took for Del Toro Amicio, the boss of the Gambino family? What the fuck did he have on this girl? What the fuck did she do? Donovan thought to himself. Donovan headed south on the 405 freeway to Avalon Boulevard, Redondo Beach. He was car dancing to Just Dance by Lady Gaga with the system pulsing with bass. Arishta was laughing her ass off at her bodyguard as he danced and sang, looking at her in the rear view. Rural neighborhoods in South LA life. Donovan passed Pacific South Bay, Pacific Colony, and entered Torrance as he sped south on Palo Verde Boulevard. The neighborhoods was filled with million and multi-million dollar homes. Donovan looked around. As he headed west on Palo Verde Boulevard. Where might we be going today, milady? Donovan said in a perfect British accent. Arishta laughed. You're such a nerd, Arishta said. In that half a breath, Donovan got a good look at this woman's clamshell pressing through those lime green yoga pants, then at those large nipples pushing through her top before he met eyes with her. What's the plan? Arishta slipped the tip of her tongue between her lips. Then it disappeared as she came forward with a naturally badass, sexy demeanor, knowing Vincent was checking her out as she rested her arms on the back of both seats. What'd you have in mind, Mr. Martellino? Arishta said in a dark but sexy tone full of her thick Russian accent. Donovan looked to his right and locked eyes with Arishta as he drove. She meant business. What's really on her mind? He returned his focus to the road as his occupant returned to her seat. Donovan wanted to pull this car over and let her have her way with him in that back seat. But this was already beginning to fuck with his head, because after everything he just went through, he just realized he never took his wedding ring off. Son of a bitch, Donovan said loud enough for her to hear as he pulled the wedding ring off. What's wrong? Arishta asked as he pocketed the ring. Oh, nothing, just a thought. FBI Special Agent Weiss followed the Rolls-Royce south to Roscalova's $9.6 million home, 704 Via Horcata, Palo Verde Estates. Agent Weiss slowed down for caution so he isn't made. From where he was parked, he could see the Rolls-Royce slow to a stop. The unidentified bald subject got out of the car, then led Arishta out the right rear door and escorted her into the home. The 3 FBI agents have been building their investigation against Mikhail Roscalova, Rico Maldonado, and Rasmus's relations with an al-Qaeda militant, Abdul Rasham, for the past 4 years. Now as the front door closes, the only thing that he was determined to do was find out who this new suspect is. Donovan looked around the massive home that was purchased by Arishta's father, Mikhail, when she returned home 3 years ago after escaping from prison. Arishta was only 6 years into her life sentence. This home is only further evidence that you really have no idea who is living next door. Nobody knew their next door neighbor was an escaped Russian prison inmate / Mafia assassin. Arishta also works at a gentleman's lounge as a strip dancer. Donovan's attention was drawn to the bathroom door that separated him from the naked body of a gorgeous woman. The shower water turned on, and the glass door closed. Donovan began rummaging through Arishta's drawers, looking for anything he could find that might lead him to Donald Shields. He found money, guns, expensive outfits, hot diamond jewelry under a pile of folded lace thongs. He made his way through the home, not forgetting that Arisha's still in the shower. After about 12 minutes of looking, he returned to the master bedroom and the shower was turned off. Arishta came out of the bathroom wrapped in a lime green towel, followed by a cloud of steam, meeting eyes with Vincent as she walked into her closet and closed the door. "Where are we going?" Donovan asked. "Terminal Island to see the shipment," Arishta replied, getting dressed. "Shipment of what? Chinese immigrants?" "Not even close. So what about you?" "What about me? I'm just a guy doing a little business," Donovan replied with a smooth tone, approaching the closet door. "Besides, you already know enough about me, don't you?" The closet door slid open faster than Donovan could blink, and there was Arishta Raskalova. As he stared at this woman's gorgeous form in those low-top, tie-dye Grant Hill filas, white ankle socks, gorgeously long and muscular legs covered in tan pantyhose, a pair of tiny ass-out-the-back blue jean booty shorts, and a big pink tank t-shirt. He wondered how he could be torn from one FBI investigation being done on him by accepting a job for the boss of another family, only to be thrown smack into the middle of another FBI investigation in another state. And neither one of these two investigations are related nor have anything to do with each other. Arishta was dressed for work tonight. She looked so fucking bad, standing there with her fresh out of the shower brunette hair whipped over to one side with her gym bag in hand. "I think there's much more to learn about you, sir." "Let's go. You can take one of my cars," Arishta said, then led Vincent to her garage. A door opened and there was a room with exotic cars. A Ferrari, a Porsche 918 Spyder, a Cadillac Escalade on chrome 26-inch rims, a chrome grille, and Donovan didn't care what kind of vehicles they were. He was taking the bike. It had to be Arishta's personal badass bitch getaway ride, a 2023 Hayabusa, black with red Japanese characters on the sides with a dragon tearing through the characters and chrome rims. It looked so fucking hard. "Go get 2 helmets," Donovan said, looking at the bike. "No, in your fucking dreams, Martelina," Arishta replied, taking a stance in front of her bike. "I'm taking the bike, with or without you," Donovan said, then playfully slapped Arishta on the ass. "Ow, you jerk," Arishta said, then laughed as she smacked Vincent on the back with her gym bag. "That fucking hurt, asshole." The garage echoed with the awakening of the Hayabusa. Donovan looked at Arishta's pissed-off face as he revved the engine again and again. She flipped him a bird, then dropped her right hand as she walked over to a rack and grabbed 2 black helmets. "Thank you," Donovan said, taking one. Both helmets were on, and it was time to go. Special Agent Marco Weiss floored it on North Gaffey Street as he tried to keep up with the black Hayabusa. Arishta was holding on to the new guy, and he rode that thing like a champ. Weiss watched the driver bust a wheelie on the Seaside Freeway going 104 miles an hour in fast-moving traffic with Arishta Raskalova on the back. The bike remained upright, doing a wheelie for a good mile or two, like there was nobody else on the road. The front wheel dropped and the bike led Weiss to the port of Los Angeles, Terminal Island. But why now? FBI Special Agent Weiss knew there were pallets of weapons straight from Pakistan in that trailer. He'd flashed his credentials at the entrance, and the guard let him through. You have to have a TWIC card to even get where Weiss was going to follow these 2 suspects. Nicholas Mikhailovic, a known accomplice and personal assassin of Arishta's, picked the 2 suspects up in an extended golf cart and unknowingly led the FBI agent to a rusted yellow trail in this maze of trailers. It wasn't far because he had to park and go on foot. Nicholas Mikhailovic works at the port of Los Angeles and knew Arishta would be coming. He directed them to a rust-spotted yellow trailer about to be loaded onto a truck and taken to Rico's garage here in L.A. There were 5 pallets stacked with wooden crates. Arista tore the plastic wrap enough to open a crate at the top. Donovan watched as this woman pulled out a 50 caliber sniper rifle. She checked it, looked it over, then put it back in the crate. What else is here? Arista asked in Russian, closing the lid. Every product your father asked for and paid for, Nicholas replied in Russian, then closed the trailer door. Excellent. Make sure everything goes according to plan, Arista replied in Russian. Then the three of them boarded the maintenance cart and he drove them back to the entrance. Special Agent Weiss followed these two suspects 33.7 miles northeast to the Santa Monica Pier, parked, and followed them both through the crowd of pedestrians along the dock. These two suspects went to Pacific Park and got on the Ferris wheel, and had a large pretzel which they shared when they got off, and hung out like everyday people. He could not let her get away. I'm a wanted fugitive in Russia since I escaped from a prison in Mordovia called IK-14. It's a horrible place. I was sentenced to life for 12 murders I was responsible for committing for my father, Mikhail Raskolova, Arista explained as they strolled down the pier. They were slowly headed back toward the bike, not even aware the FBI is 20 feet away watching them both. Among a pier side full of people, Arista had her arm linked with Vincent's as they strolled on. So you really escaped a Russian prison after being sentenced to life for being a serial murderer? Donovan asked, curious. This sure beats last month's world history final exam, which was nothing compared to the difficulty he now faced. I was facing a death sentence by a firing squad, but Vladimir Putin sent word that I was to be imprisoned for life where I would surely be killed. 6 years into my sentence at IK-14, I escaped. 3 years ago now. So what do you do? I mean, if I'm on the run from a Russian prison, where am I going to go? What did you do to get away? No, where did you sleep on your first night out? Donovan asked, really curious. Arista laughed. My first night out, I was in a cheap hotel in Bulgaria. I took a direct flight from Moscow. Thank goodness none of the authorities recognized me. I used alternate identification to get out of Russia and landed in Bulgaria. From there, after a week of watching the news, I took a direct flight to my father here in Los Angeles. Arista explained. You do realize that I'm just your bodyguard, Donovan said in a smooth tone. Of course. And as close as you'll be to me. I need to know I can trust you, Vincent, Arista said, then calmly took him by the wrist and led him to the rail overlooking the water. If I cannot trust you, then you cannot live. Are we clear? We will never have this conversation again. Are you angry at me now? Donovan asked, worried. Arista took him by the hand and playfully whirled around him, smiling as if her freedom from IK-14 was a rebirth, then approached him. Of course not. Take me for a ride. Donovan cleared 100 miles per hour going north on the LA freeway with Arista on the back. Just the ride. Wind brushing past the helmets, blowing past traffic, not giving a fuck. This was a getaway. Donovan drove Arista home so she could get some rest for work tonight, and that sounded like a good idea. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support, your love. Thank you for everything. You all are a blessing to me, whether you realize it or not. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned. I'm out.